Evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. It's the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown, year number 25. Bob Pompeani here. We have a lot to get into tonight, including Paul Skeens versus Jackson Merrill. Who is going to win the Rookie of the Year? We'll talk about Pitt, 4-0 for the first time in non-conference play ever. But the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be the Steelers and their best win of the year. And here to discuss is your panel, Ray Fittipaldo, who covers the team for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. To your left, in the middle, it's Mark Kaboly with the Pat McAfee Show. First time you're on this panel, I think, as a member of Pat McAfee. I just want to get that straight.
I don't know.
Okay, I don't know.
Paul.
It's late at night.
Yeah.
All right, and Andrew Fillipponi, PM Team 93.7 The Fan. Ray, I want to start with you. Beat down is the word that comes to mind. Second half, they went to halftime on 173 yards. They ended with 168. They go -5. How big of a performance was that for the Steelers defense?
Yeah, I mean, this Steelers defense, Bob, they're going to go into the game against Indianapolis as the top-rated defense in the NFL, 8-point-something points per game. And it's just really impressive. You know, they did not miss a beat today after Alex Highsmith went out. They got depth. Nick Herbie came in. And I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. I don't know how long you can continue to win these close games, even though today was a 10-point game. But they're playing close games, and they're winning it with their defense, which has been impressive.
Yeah, you don't even have to worry about who's the quarterback right now. If you have this defense putting up 10 points a game or whatever it is, they were pretty dominant again today. And the thing is, they're not even taking the ball away that much. They didn't have any turnovers today. Well, maybe one.
No, they didn't. They lost the turnover battle and won the game.
They lost the turnover battle. So, I mean, they're just so deep. And I don't think Terrell Austin has to do much rather than just put him in a position and say, go get the quarterback and stop the run. They're that talented right now. But you do have to worry a little bit with the competition here. It's not like we're looking at the old '84 Dolphins we're playing the past 3 years.
Chargers are a pretty good team, though. They can't.
Well, yeah. So I don't see smoke and mirrors here, and I don't see a game where you can, in the end, say, well, they only won because of Herbert for two reasons. Number one, this was the best rushing team in the NFL, not by total yards, but by efficiency. Dobbins came in averaging 9.9. They held him to 2.9 in this game, and that was done before Herbert got hurt. So you can't say the defense changed when Heineke went in. And then they knocked Herbert out of the game. He did not take a bad step. It was not a fluke play. They hit him so hard and got after him so bad that they eliminated him from this game. So they deserve credit for that. They are the #1 defense in the NFL, with or without Highsmith, in my opinion.
8.9 points per game in 3 games. That's pretty good. Ray, back to you on this. If Justin Herbert remains in the game, because he was playing pretty well, do they still win the game, or is it a whole different kind of game?
Yeah, he was playing well, but I could sense the Steelers were getting a beat on him before they knocked him out. So I think probably it would have been a field goal game, Bob, instead of winning by 10. Yeah, I mean, anytime you get to play against a backup quarterback, and we saw Heineke when he came in there, he wasn't up to the task. But I still think they win that game, but it's probably not a 10-point game.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. He doesn't throw the touchdown pass to Calvin Austin with 7 minutes left. It's a 3-point game already. Now it's a good throw, good run. And they probably took a couple of chances on that play, Los Angeles, because of the predicament they were in. I don't know. I think it would have been close. I mean, you throw him, maybe not Herbert in general. You throw Herbert and Slater, Herbert and maybe Bosa in there for the entire game. Maybe it's different, but hey, we don't play those games. They won the game, and you can't go back and say, well, so-and-so didn't play. But I think it probably would be, what was that, the 3rd drive of the game? I mean, he looked unstoppable with that.
He really was.
He looked really
at
good.
That point.
Well, he's been great against the Steelers. He killed them 2 years when Ben was in his last year. He had 90 rushing yards in that game. He had 3 touchdown passes. He was incredible. He can make every play. So to answer your question, I still think the Steelers win. However, I would not. My preference, I would not want to see them again in the playoffs, because I think that coach-quarterback combination is tough with Harbaugh and Herbert.
Yeah. All right, speaking of quarterbacks, Ray, back to you on this one, because this is it seems like it's a weekly topic. Who's QB1? Now, on the depth chart every week, Mike Tomlin has Russell Wilson listed as #1. At this point, however, should there be a change based on what we've seen, and what would change to give Russell Wilson a chance?
Bob, I can't see them going away from Justin Fields after he goes 25 for 32, runs one in and throws one in the 4th quarter. Russell Wilson is probably going to come back, and he's going to be closer to being a full participant this week. But you're 3-0, you got a good mojo going. I think you delay it one more week, see how the team plays, see how Fields plays, in Indianapolis and then make that decision after that.
Yeah, I don't think you can move away from Fields right now. He did everything.
You're doing a 180 because you didn't feel that way on Friday.
I'm saying right now, yeah. I mean, but when he goes up and puts up those numbers, and I think a little part of it is they're not really treating him fair. And when I say this, I don't think they're opening up the playbook. I think they're still being very, very cautious with him. And I don't think that's fair to him right now.
It was more so open today, though, right?
Yes,
the middle of the field was completely
still
utilized.
Not much deep throws, not much play action throws. I want to see I don't want to see the 3 or 4 yard out patterns and stuff like that early in the game when they went 3 and out, and I believe 3 and out. I don't even know, 3 and out, 9 and out, whatever it was. I want him to open it up. Let's see what he can do and say, you need him to win the game. For him to be benched or for Russell Wilson to come in, he's going to have an awful game, and he might have to be dinged up right now because you can't go away from it right now.
Yeah, well, I didn't think he managed the game today. I thought he made plays, and maybe the final score 20 points. People think he wasn't like the guy that was the catalyst, but I thought he made all kinds of great plays. I mean, they have another field goal at the end of the half if Freiermuth holds onto the ball. He was basically perfect in the first half. He had 2 drops, Pickens and Freiermuth, and made throws in the middle, throws to the outside, intermediate, deep, short, ran the ball.
When he deep.
What do you mean?
Well, what are we talking? More than 10 yards? I don't think there was many of those.
Well, if we have a passing chart, what's the Austin play? Short?
Well, that was 7 minutes left in the game.
It was 15 to 20 yards.
Okay,
Right?
I mean that's.
Yeah,
I thought you said first half.
No, I'm just saying by the end of the game he did it all. He did it all.
You mean tell me it doesn't feel to you that they're still like saying don't lose the game for
I
us?
felt that way through about 2.5 quarters of this game, but I thought they opened up the playbook a little bit later in the game, and they got rewarded for it with the plays he made.
I think they're able to do that when you have a defense like that. Why not?
Here's the thing about this offense, though. I don't think it's going to change much when Russell Wilson does come in. They're going to give him a little bit more trust, but they're still going to keep it close to the vest.
Sure.
They're going to try to win
That's
games
just Mike Tomlin's DNA, right? That's what it is. But at some point, it's good to see them use the middle of the field. I would imagine the times we've seen him throw down the field, Andrew, to your point, 51 yards taken back by penalty. It was a beautiful throw. He has the arm strength to do it. Why not once in a while take a chance?
Well, what's going to happen now with Miami because they lost their second quarterback today?
Yeah, I don't know. He got injured in a weird-looking play, Skyler.
You're telling me that his people are not at least going to want to look into that situation? His whole career hinges on how he performs this year. If he's still backing up Justin Fields and he sees a team with better receiving options, we've seen quarterbacks the last 2 years get traded in season and be productive. Josh Dobbs went to Minnesota and made plays last year, Bob.
Man, I wouldn't want to do that if you're the
Joe
Steelers,
Flacco.
Man. I do not want to do that. I mean,
But he wants volunteers, not hostages.
I understand
Mark.
it, but I don't know if Russell Wilson would approach it in that type of way. So that's
his whole
one.
career depends on what happens here.
But number two is what would benefit the Steelers for doing this?
I agree with you on that, but I'm saying Russell Wilson might force the issue.
Then you're a snap away from Kyle Allen.
I agree.
You're 7-0. You trade him away.
I agree.
Snap away from
but I'm saying
it's $1 million.
I'm saying he's going to force the issue potentially.
I don't think he will.
It's the same issue if they had traded Dan Moore. They would have been without, down to one tackle. So you have to have that sort of.
You think Dan Moore's got Russell Wilson's ego, Mark? Okay.
Well, not outwardly going.
No, I mean, we'll see. It's a long season. As we've seen, things change in a hurry. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Steeler wide receiving depth chart. Do you still think they need a new number 2 or a bigger talent over there? We'll talk about that when we continue right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Steelers winners 20-10 to get to 3-0. A little lead in the rest of the division, even though the Ravens won today, the Browns lost today. We're talking about what the Steelers do now that Roman Wilson is healthy. He did not play today, even though he practiced fully this week at the end of it. Andrew, I want to start with you. Do you still think they need, obviously not Brandon Ayuk, he's now back with San Francisco, but someone like that? And if so, how do you do it? Or do you just roll with what you got?
No, I still think they're going to have to look around between now. They asked for the trade deadline to get moved back. That was a Steelers rule push. So I think that speaks to the aggressiveness of the organization now where they are more receptive to in-season moves with Omar Khan. I don't know why else they'd care about a rule like that. So, yeah, I think that they'll look around. You've got 0-3 teams out there with wide receivers in the final year of their contracts. Yeah, I think they'll try to upgrade it. The Roman Wilson thing, I understand. The game plan today was for more 2 tight end looks, 3 tight end looks, even when Hayward is in the game. Right. He doesn't really have a special teams contribution yet. Okay, fine. But we saw, again, Van Jefferson. I know he left the game, but please, it's not working here for this guy.
But we saw Austin and Miller step up, Mark.
We did. Miller made a big play.
Yeah, as for your trade thing, there's no doubt that Omar is going to be snooping around to try to just upgrade the roster, who that might be or when that might be. who knows? But if you continue to get at least a little bit from Calvin Austin and a little bit from Scotty Miller, maybe you can live through it right now. I still want to see Freiermuth pick up his game. He's not looking like he looked in preseason and training camp. I mean,
he's got to make that catch at the end of the first half.
I mean, that's an absolute perfect throw.
Yeah,
and I mean, you got to make that throw. The two throws, I mean, I'm digressing here, but the Fields throw to Austin, you can't throw two better balls than that.
I mean, listen, they dressed as many tight ends today as receivers. They want to use their tight ends.
I know.
They want Pat Freiermuth to be a bigger part of it. It hasn't worked through 3 games, but I think eventually he's too talented not to get 75, 100 yards in one of these games, but they need it, you know, and Roman Wilson has to step up too. I mean, it's a tough injury, a high ankle sprain.
What, 2 months now, right?
They need his
2 months with him.
Yeah, they need his pedigree. He's potentially one of their best receivers. That's why they drafted him in the 3rd round. They needed him to step up.
The name to watch here, I think, is DeAndre Hopkins, because he's in the last year of his contract. The Titans are 0-3. Yeah. I think Tomlin has a penchant for like the guys with the big resumes who are veterans who have gotten it done, and that's a guy that, you know, he doesn't even really need to be open. You throw it to him, he makes plays. So I'd give up a mid-round pick for somebody like that.
Your first call tomorrow is going to be like, why did they trade Deontay Johnson? See his numbers. He had a big game with Andy Dalton in there.
How about Andy Dalton? Anyway, I want to talk also about the tackle situation here, Mark. Oh, yeah. All right. Last week was sort of tackle by committee, which is interesting. 2 guys who are supposed to be left tackles playing right back.
Today, but go ahead.
So then the injury happens to Fautano out of the blue, and you guys were there making it sound like it's a non-context. It didn't look like much, right? So what happens with Broderick Jones now? Did you see enough to think that he can just claim that position and do it well? And there's no one else to challenge him. He has to get it done.
You don't have any other choice. I mean, it's his job or you're in big trouble right now. And then they're a little bit fortunate that they got a guy of that pedigree to be able to step in. Like, I think his failures the first couple weeks and even in the preseason, I think that's just something, growing pains. 23-year-old kid that still, you know, was handed the starting job halfway through the season. I think he'll be fine. I mean, you have to worry about obviously injuries, but putting him in at right tackle, I think they're great. I think Dan Moore, again, your buddy.
I mean, whiffed on Khalil Mack early in the game.
Well, did you hear Dan Moore's name at all today?
After that, no. But here's the thing. You're in a situation now where, looking back, do you think they handled that tackle situation the right way? Again, committee approach last week before he was yanked, but also not putting any one of them at left tackle at any point.
Yeah, I think what they did last week was to keep the interest of Broderick Jones and make it seem like, okay, you're benched, but you're not really benched, and that obviously didn't work out for him. You know, the whole thing with Broderick is he's versatile, and they don't have anyone else like him on the roster. They want to keep Troy Fautanu in one spot as a rookie, and they know Dan Moore can't play on the right side. So, you know, Broderick Jones, because of his flexibility, is in that position. Now at least he gets to settle in at right tackle, right? I mean, you got Dylan Cook coming back. He could be the swing tackle. So.
Oh, my.
And they also have
Isaac
Seumalo coming back. So
right,
they're getting
him
a little bit healthier on the offensive line, but I think the depth on the O-line is still a little bit of a concern.
I don't think the way that Jones has been handled has helped. I mean, obviously this is a raw player in terms of his college experience, so it wasn't like he was plug and play. Fautanu had all those snaps at Washington, even though they made him move from the left to the right side. There's so much talent there. I mean, you see it at times today with Jones, so I'm optimistic that now that he gets to settle in there, he'll play well. But look, I mean, we can't gloss over the fact that they clearly thought Fautanu was their second best offensive lineman behind Seumalo. And now he's out for the year, and we're not going to see him again until next year. And we don't know what kind of knee injury it is for a guy that had a history that was on his. That was one of the red flags he had on him. That's why he kind of fell in the draft. Was a knee problem.
Did someone make that official, or is that just speculation about out for the year?
No,
he's not officially out for the year, but it's trending in that direction. And listen, I know what you're saying about the red flags. Andy Weidel was not afraid to take guys with red flags. He did
Darnell Washington.
Landon Dickerson in Philadelphia, right? Darnell Washington.
Peyton Wilson with what, one ACL?
Yeah.
DeJuan Blair.
So, I mean, you got to hope that he rebounds. Listen, Dave DeCastro missed almost all of his rookie season, too. So there's a history there. Hopefully, Fautanu can come back and be the guy they think he can be.
Well, Steelers are not the only undefeated football team in town. Yeah, we're talking about the Pitt Panthers. Did it again yesterday, albeit YSU. But now it's ACC season. So are we going to readjust what we think of Pitt? We'll find out next right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. We're talking Pitt football right now. 4-0, first time ever in a non-conference season. They sweep it all, albeit, Kent State, Youngstown State, but they've tripped up against those teams. They won yesterday impressively. So I want to ask you guys if you have kind of rethought your early season predictions about Pitt. Andrew, I'm going to start with you. You went over 5.5. You said it on this program. They would have over that. You didn't say they have 9. I don't know what you were thinking, but you certainly thought they were going to win their share of games. The ACC looks far less intimidating than it did maybe at the beginning of the season. What do you think now is possible for Pitt as they look into ACC play?
Well, I see no reason why they're not going to spend multiple weeks in the top 25. Look at what they've got the next 3 games here. It's North Carolina. Their coach almost
70
quit.
Points yesterday.
Coach almost quit on him, Matt
JMU.
Brown. You've got Syracuse. You've got Cale coming to town. They should win all 3 of those games. That gets you to 7-0. And that gets you through October unscathed. Then you go, and the schedule gets much harder from there with Clemson and Boston College and Louisville and those teams. But I think they'll win around 8 games. But the bigger story to me is they have a quarterback. They have a really good quarterback, and now it's going to depend on the NIL money to make sure that he does not go play quarterback for somebody else next year.
If it's worth anything, I ran into his mother, Eli Holstein's mom, and grandmother yesterday. They love Pittsburgh. He said, so I don't know if that means
Congratulations on all your success, Bob.
No, they were looking for shelter because it rained. They came into the tent where we
They're
were.
going to have to add that surcharge to the ticket price, right? Like Tennessee, right?
Well, what do you think now, Mark?
Well, I think you're right. I mean, it shows absolutely what a good quarterback does for any sort of, if you're pros, college, or high school, it makes you all of a sudden a contender. I thought they were going to stink this year. I thought their offensive line wasn't very good. We didn't know what quarterback direction we were going to go to. I mean, how many times we see a quarterback come in here and just fell? Well, this one is not one of those.
Phil Jerkovic.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, he was bad.
Keaton Slovis.
Keaton
just
Slovis
go on
was
and on.
supposed to be something. This guy's from Alabama, though, right?
Yeah.
So he
Well,
has.
there was somebody else from Alabama a couple years ago, wasn't there? Or US, whatever. Maybe it was Slovis. But whatever it is, I mean, you got a good quarterback. It seems like they got their good running back. You can't underestimate the offensive coordinator change either.
I agree.
He's done a very good job.
He's done very well. So why can't they win? They win 7 games. They're in the bowl. Why can't they win the ACC?
They should.
I don't think.
If any conference is available to win it, it's this one.
Absolutely. Hey, we were making all these predictions back in August. We didn't know if it was going to be Nate Yarnell or Holstein. I mean, Pitt has closed practices. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but this guy looks like he's the real deal. And, yeah, I can see them winning 7-8 games now, maybe even more.
Don't they have a Narduzzi game, like a Tomlin game? They lose a game they should have won.
Well,
Like Western Michigan, the year they had Kenny and went to the ACC
Right.
championship.
So, yeah.
If James Madison scoring 70
Bob, let me
against
ask you
North
this
Carolina.
question right now. Is there a better shot Penn State wins a playoff game or Pitt makes it to the ACC title game?
I would say that Pitt probably making it to the ACC.
Wow, how about that?
I like Penn State too, but I just think that they're going to run in some until they prove they can win some of those games. I think that's what it's going to come down to. James Franklin in those big games. I got to go to a break on that note because I didn't expect that. We're over time now. So when we come back, Paul Skeens, is it the Rookie of the Year or is it Jackson Merrill of the Padres? We'll talk about that and more next. Paul Skeens put on a show again today. He's dominated just about everyone, including Cincinnati 3 times. 5 innings, 9 strikeouts, 2 hits. His ERA has gone down, Ray Fittipaldo, to 1.99. Now, a normal year, you'd say that a 21-year-old outfielder from San Diego who has his team in the playoffs, Jackson Merrill, would win this thing. He has outstanding numbers. But how can you deny Paul Skeens? Who is it in your book?
To me, it's got to be Skeens. He's got a chance to be the most dominant pitcher of his generation. He came in and has been lights out since he came up. I mean, Merrill's putting up great numbers. 89 ribbies as a rookie is awesome, but it's got to be Skeens for me.
You tell me the Pirates are still playing?
Yeah, they're still playing.
Really?
They're not going to get to their 76 wins, I don't think, either, are they? And they have 6
gonna be
games
close.
left. Getting close.
Pomp, only thing I know of Jackson Merrill is when he played against the Pirates a couple times, and he was absolutely stunning.
Walk-offs, all
Absolutely
kinds of stuff.
stunning. So,
But in a normal year, he'd win it,
Yeah,
hands down.
it's a tough one. I think Skeens probably gets the benefit of the doubt because he got the bigger name right now. He throws the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. So I think he might have the edge right now.
So I would say Skeens. I believe it should be Skeens. His ERA is under 2. He's doing historic stuff. Jackson Merrill's having a good year, but we've not seen a rookie pitcher be this dominant since maybe Valenzuela. Bob, I do think it comes down to the last week. I mean, if the Padres were to catch the Dodgers, does he get it? I think so, for sure. I mean, that would be.
That should matter, I imagine, right?
And
he's a big part of everything they do.
If the Yankees play Judge and those guys the last weekend of the year, and Skeens goes in there and dominates them, that's going to help his cause immensely. So I would lean Skeens.
Yeah, I think that's a universal thing that we're all thinking Paul Skeens, and why not? Based on, I'm anxious to see him and Jared Jones goes against the Yankees. I hope that.
How about Mitch Keller? What's happened to him?
He's been up and down. But those two young guys, I want to see them against that team. I think that'd be fun to watch. Anyway, Pirates come home for 3 and then 3 in New York, and then they're done. And if you're not done looking for a new vehicle, I have something for you. Don't settle for anything less than #1 Cochran Kia's clearly better car buying experience. You know why? You can enjoy exclusive clear-cut pricing where you get their most competitive offer up front, take advantage of exceptional lease and finance rates, and choose from a lineup of nearly 200 new models. Experience clearly better car buying at #1 Cochran Kia. You can do it in store or online at cochrankia.com. All right, welcome back. We have 50 seconds left in this program. Quick prediction, Colts, Steelers. They won there last year. The Colts did. What will happen on Sunday?
Another young quarterback. I know he's in his second year, but they took care of Bo Nix last week. I think they get Richardson on the road.
Bo Nix was good today, by the way.
Yeah.
Every time we think they're going to win in Indy, Gardner Minshew shows up somewhere. Richardson isn't Minshew, but right now, how can you pick against the Steelers going into Indy and playing that garbage team?
Yeah.
Well, it is a scary game, though, because they've not faced a mobile quarterback yet, right? So this will be the first test.
Nix doesn't he?
Like Richardson?
No,
I mean,
not like Richardson, but he is mobile.
Richardson's like Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson got put into a blender, so I'm worried about that.
We're out of time. Thanks for joining us here. We look forward to seeing you again next Sunday night for another edition of the Cochran Sports Showdown.